The world has been slow to recognize it, but Nigeria has become the epicenter of a brutal and systemic persecution of Christians. In the shadows of jihadist violence, a silent genocide is unfolding, with over 3,100 believers killed and nearly 3,000 kidnapped in 2024 alone. The victims are not just statistics. There are families torn apart, communities destroyed, and a faith under siege. As the international community looks away, Nigerian Christians are paying the price of their devotion, facing an existential threat that demands urgent attention and action. The question is, will the world finally take notice, or will it be complicit in the erasure of a faith that has been a cornerstone of Nigerian society? This is the Eastern Eye. I am Alex Obodo. You're welcome to the Eastern Eye, a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me tonight is the Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Olisa Chukwuma, OON, Emeritus Archbishop of Enugu Ecclesiastical Province of the Anglican Communion. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Your Grace, for joining me tonight on the Eastern Eye.
God bless you.
This has been a very heated talk all over Nigeria. You have been in the northern part of the country as a young cleric. Help us put in perspective what it's like to be a Christian in the north.
Thank you very much for having me. Well, I would say that, first of all, I was consecrated a bishop in 1990. I was the first bishop of Bauchi Missionary Diocese. And when I got to Bauchi, which is dominated by the Hausas and mostly Muslims, we had various denominations like the Ekwa, Tekan, Kokin, Anglicans, Roman Catholic Church, SIM, Pentecostals. These are the people that form the churches that we call CAN. And I must tell you that at that time, CAN was very strong. And I was elected as the bishop, as a CAN president or CAN chairman of Bauchi State in 1991, after getting the 1990. And I was a bishop and also the CAN chairman of Bauchi State for 6 years. But that being the Christian bishop then, it was not an easy thing to work in the Muslim society, and particularly in the northern part of Nigeria, because as we are doing evangelism, whenever we went to go to anywhere to plant churches, it was a difficult thing to get land, even for burials. So I, as CAN chairman, fought a very big fight to make sure that Christians get a sort of cemetery, because when they were not giving us land to bury, and they have burial ground for Muslims, I had to make sure that I approached the MS and several of governments that we must get land. And when they refused, I asked Christians, dump the corpse in the chairman's office. And that forced them to give us some land. Also, we find that to evangelize was not an easy thing. One of the things I must very much commend the Christians in the North is the unity. Because that time in Bauchi, they didn't see me as the Anglican bishop, they see me as the bishop of the people. Apart from Bishop Ganaka, who was in Jos, also supervising the Catholic bishop in Bauchi, he was cooperating with me, overseeing the Catholic bishop, the Catholic diocese of the Catholic church in Bauchi before it was created a diocese, and one white man, Bishop Moore, was sent there. I had a very bad experience when in 1992, there was this problem of these Ayawas. They had problem in Tababalewa. Tababalewa is mostly Christians. But what was the problem is the problem of the pork. They don't eat pork, but that caused a lot of problem between Christians and the Muslims in that place. So they went bizarre, burning churches, and also Christian. But Christians, there was so much of kill that they killed some of the Muslims too, because many Christians were killed and churches burned. So as they come out, the cops were moved from Tababala to the town. The Muslims in the town now went array. And when burnt in our churches, my own church was burned. The cathedral I met was burnt. My night guard was killed. Many of our people were killed. The churches burned. And our life were very much in danger.
So this was in the 90s?
Yes, since 1991, 92, I'm telling you this. But at the end of it, there was curfew. And what I did was that time was to mobilize Christians. Mobilizing Christians and organizing a rally. Because the Muslims in the north at that time, once they are pursuing you and you return, you come back to, fight back, they retrieve. So we decided therefore that if you come near, we fight you back. So I led Christians to the MS Palace. And so I went to the MS Palace and said, look, you burnt our churches, but if you try to burn any church again, I will destroy this MS Palace with Obuniwe. So they were afraid because they don't like harassment. And I made sure that for 3 days we closed down churches as part of our grievance for burning our churches. And we're worshiping in a burnt church. The faith of Christians in the north were so much to be acknowledged. And once you give a directive, don't open shop for 3 days, all Christians will close shop, then the place will look like a ghost town. And that was when we knew that Christians were very powerful in the north. The same thing in Kano. So what I can say that to be a Christian in the northern part of them was not an easy thing. It needed a lot of sacrifice, and instead of you two to be very much determined. And it was then I knew that the Bible said, if you want to lose your life, you have it. Because I was ready to die. But the more I was really raging, Babangida could testify to that. Because at that time, he sent money for us to rebuild our churches, and the government confiscated it. I went to the government house and fought it out. 50 million at that time, sent by Akumu. And they said it was 30 million. I said no. So Akumu had to fax to me the central bank receipt. And so when the government, I said, you're Barawo. This is not what they get. So when they saw my fears and the way I was very much not afraid of anybody. The money was released. I will have to now give the money to people whose house churches were burnt and all that. But we lost lives. So from there, and I told them in Bauchi then, that I will rebuild the burnt cathedral, which I rebuilt. It's one of the biggest cathedrals in Bauchi state now, very near the hospital. And I wrote on it, Jesus is Lord. So if you are in the stadium watching football, you see Jesus is Lord on the roof, red roof, aluminum roof, which was sponsored by T.Y. Danjuma, because after the burning of our churches, I invited all the Christian generals to Bauchi. Theophilus Danjuma, Husseini, Taufidi, and many of them. And when they saw that I invited many of the Christian generals, they were afraid to come to my compound, and they were afraid of Christians. And I said, if you burn this cathedral, if I leave Bauchi again, I'll come back to build a basilica. Since that time, nobody would venture to go to that place again more. And so, to be a Christian, you must be very determined. You must be courageous. And that's what is helping Bishop Kuka. And you find that this thing has helped us. Kuka is my friend. We discuss very much a lot because Satan's area was very much in problem. Jos Plateau was very peaceful there because even when there was problem in Bauchi, people run to Jos for salvage. But now, Christians in the Plateau are now being killed. And so this has now multiplied to many other areas. Benue, Taraba, Gongola, Gombe, and many other places. Kano. We experienced a lot of burnt churches, killing of Christians.
Yeah.
So these things went into the news, to foreign news anyway.
That's
so
right.
Whatever is happening now was not because of what is happening now. Unfortunately, whatever is happening now to say about Boko Haram and other things was God's own intervention to fight for Christians. People don't understand because the blood of innocents is crying. So it's now reversing back to them. So if they say Muslims are killed, yes, because you didn't know when we are being killed. But now it's a matter of mixture of Christian Muslims are being killed.
So now that President Trump says Nigeria is a country of interest, particular interest, because of the treatment of Christians, genocide, and the different things he referenced in that particular statement he made, do you think that since he made that statement till now, the government has put things in place to remedy the situation?
Well, you have to understand one thing. When Jonathan was the president of Nigeria, Buhari said he will make government ungovernable for Jonathan. That was when Boko Haram started. And what is Boko Haram? Boko means book. Haram means no, nothing. No book. No book. So which means they didn't want people to be scholarly, they don't want to study. And so we find that what happened right now is what Trump saw, for which they decided to be killing Christians. What the government must understand now is that when Trump is trying to let them understand that the things they should do, they have not done. Because every time you change service chiefs, they're going to make money. And this thing of Boko Haram never ended. Why? Because people are making money from it. Some sponsors are opening behind them. So it's unfortunate that the government should sit up. Whatever Trump is saying now is a sort of trying to put the government on their toes, telling them, do what you should do to save lives. It's not coming to fight the government to take over Nigeria, but saying, look, enough is enough. Let your army chiefs, your service chiefs, do their best to fight this menace of these insurgents and banditry. You find that the Air Force has not been doing their job. Because if you go on the ground, you cannot fight, then there should be air survey to find out where these people are and then begin to strike. So government should begin to strategize of how to really make sure that this thing is stopped. Because if not so, Trump has no blame at all. He's trying to make sure that they salvage the Christians, and this to let them know that we Christians, we have brothers abroad, and we have people who support us, and that God is our fighter. Whatever is happening now is not because that we are strong enough, but God has reason to say, I must defend my people. And government must be very careful now. We know that from now henceforth, they're going to be very careful on treating Christians anyhow. And that's what's happening not now.
There are a few individuals who, since after that announcement was made, have either left the country or disappeared from where they used to be. Sheikh Gumi, who negotiates for the
bandits.
The bandits.
Yes.
Oh, news has it that they are no longer in the country.
Everybody is hiding.
What do you think this situation brings to the fore? There are people who should be held accountable for the role they've played all this while, especially in the treatment of those that are not Muslims out there in the north. There's a balance, and when you come to the south, you don't seem to get that same tension against Muslims. What do you think? It's always the case when you go to the north, because I did my youth service in the north. There was a time we had to move to the barracks.
Yes.
Because there was some killings in Jega. I did my youth service in Kebbi.
I did myself in my barracks sometime too.
So there was a case where all of us were asked to go to the barracks. We stayed about 3 or 4 days there.
Yes.
And my parents were calling. Said I should find my way to Abuja. Find your way to Abuja where you have to pass through Jaga to go to Abuja, or you travel all the way through Sokoto.
Yeah.
So which was not an option at that time. Is it realistic to keep living this way if you're not a Muslim in the north? Is it realistic to continue to look over your shoulder every day?
Let me tell you something. When we fought the Biafran Civil War, he said to keep Nigeria one, it's a task that must be done. If this country belongs to all of us, there's nothing wrong in anybody living anywhere. The Hausas are living all over the whole place. In the southern part, nobody's worrying them. And they've become a menace here. So, and particularly the Igbos are the most hit in some of the areas. Because the Igbos are very enterprising. They move to many places. I could remember when I went to a place called Bam Bam, now in Gombe State. The man who sells drinks there and Peter Messing, he was an Igbo man. Okay? So what the Hausa sell is mostly suya and goro. So if northern people will exist, they need southerners to also be in the north, because they're the ones who are very much enterprising, giving most of their needs. Talk about motor parts, talk about even foodstuffs, talk about even many things that are even building materials. They are the Igbos, they are not the southerners. And so there's something wrong if we allow them to be in the south. If Nigeria has to be one, if not so, if you just go to attend to Israel, then let us divide this country. It's not a must that we must all be united. Let us form this regional thing, and then let us go. But if you want us to be together, then let us have peace, salvage lives, protect lives. But if government is selective, which I call selective negligence, in protecting the lives of people in this country, then that would be dangerous. But there's nothing wrong with anybody living anywhere in this country. You can find that even the Igbos take many places they go to as anywhere they are as their home. They build houses. Even right now, look at what's happening in Lagos. It's a shame that Yorubas have started their own.
Yes, I even wanted to ask you about that, the demolitions there.
It's a shame. So it's a shame, and we feel that people who really made Lagos what it is today are the Igbos. But most of the things that have been thrown belong to the Igbos. Even when in those days when they were fighting these things, they were destroying things. Most of it are suffered by the Igbos too, because many markets that were burnt belong to Igbos. And so it's unfortunate that it's happening. But if this government of Tinubu is going to do something right, he should make sure that the service chiefs now put them on their toes to perform. If they perform, now they say they've started performing, then there'll be no need for Trump to come. But when they don't perform and lives are continuously being lost, even up to now, then Trump will therefore, because they know those who are the people. And even government has identified some of them, but nobody has been prosecuted. Why are you hiding names of the people who are behind these things? Why don't you expose them? Even those people in National Assembly, they know most of them.
So do you think is this not prosecuting people who are responsible for terrorism sponsorship? You think that's the major reason why there is this threat from the US over Nigeria? If they don't do something and quick, that they might come into Nigeria, boots on the ground and guns are blazing, the way Trump put it?
No. You see, the thing there is, as I'm concerned, it's a matter of proper vigilance, surveillance, and intelligence, which the government is not yet doing at all. If these things are put in place, then there will be no fear. But when you don't put surveillance, intelligence, and proper, let's say, outlook and security into place, then you'll be afraid of this tourism, whatever. But right now, as it is, I think they have to beef up and make sure that they get themselves properly equipped and make sure that they do something with proper intelligence. Our armed forces must do their best. They must not go to sleep. We want to see improvement. We want to see an end. When will this thing end? That's the problem. When will it end? If it doesn't end, then Nigeria is in trouble. Even right now, Nigeria is on gunpowder. Okay? It's on gunpowder. People are very angry and hungry. People are disenchanted with the way things are going. And unless you make things better for Nigerians, there will be a time that the whole country will be on fire. But you see, Nigerians are very resilient. Thank God that Nigerians are very patient. I mean, what happened in Nigeria Republic at that time and happened in many other countries in West Africa? It's not as worse as what is happening in Nigeria here. But we are peace-loving people. And we should not be taken for granted.
So, Your Grace, do you think that religious tolerance is an impossible thing to accomplish, especially in northern Nigeria?
It is. And bigotry must be avoided. You see, then there's that intolerance as well, because it's a matter of dialogue. I studied Islam also. And when I began to talk about Islam to some of the Muslims, they are shocked. Many of the Muslims don't even know Quran. They act on ignorance. So tolerance is very important. And intolerance is a sin. And will not help unity. And will not help dialogue. Because it's when we dialogue and we're able to exchange views. I understand my religion, I understand your religion. We say, okay, peace, love, and all that. And talks about not killing anybody. Then there'll be that understanding. But where people are not very much knowledgeable and deep in knowledge about their religion and what it teaches, it becomes a very much delicate. So intolerance in northern part of Nigeria is possible, or tolerance is possible, if everybody will know that we are human beings created by God and that we all profess going to, I don't know two heavens though. There's one heaven. And once you know that there's only one heaven and you want to go to heaven, then you should tolerate your brother and forgive one another. But you know there's a sin to kill. We shouldn't take it as a grant or so for us to do what is evil. And I must say that, starting from the Igbo land, we must learn to be together and forgive and unite ourselves. Where there's no unity, even among people who are Christians, there will be intolerance. Because the Bible says, forgive one another. And we too say in the Lord's Prayer, forgive us as we forgive those who sin against us. But how many of us forgive one another? There's much intolerance everywhere. People are filled with grudge. People are filled with sort of, insincerity. And there's too much, greed, corruption, and also lack of fear of God. And these things are things that also make people to be very much intolerant and must avoid it.
You just talked about those from the southern part coming together. Is it also impossible for that to happen? Because it looks like down here, everyone seems to be running on their own lane. But up there, that's more...
The Hausas are more united,
yes,
than we in the south here. Have you ever seen an Hausa person writing a petition against an Hausa man in the government? Have you ever seen the Hausa people proving themselves in the government? No. But here, it is PhD. Pull him down, pull her down. That's the problem with us in the south. In the southern part of Nigeria here, it's difficult to unite ourselves because of what? Self-centeredness, greed, pomposity, pride. It's for everybody. You feel that you are better than somebody else. You don't feel that somebody is better placed than yourself. Look at what's happening in the judiciary. The Hausas will continue to push their young lawyers to High Court, from High Court to Appeal Court, from Appeal Court to Supreme Court. And before you know it, they become the Chief Judge of Nigeria. But Nigeria, in the southern part here, you find that even the judiciary, you won't push young people to the judiciary to become High Court judges, from there to Appeal Court, so that at least they can be very much of age to be in Supreme Court, to become the Chief Justice of Nigeria. We are cheating ourselves. We should avoid all this type of thinking, oh, you are too small, can't do this. Look at Wike's wife. You know, she's already in Supreme Court now. Are you aware of that? But see how the man was able to push his wife into Appeal Court. From Appeal Court, she's now in Supreme Court. She's a very young lady. Every state governor should begin to push their young ones into the judiciary to make them to get to that highest point. Not before they get to the Supreme Court, they are already aged to retire. That's in Supreme Court. Then in politics also, those who are already expired should please give way. You tell young ones tomorrow you are the future tomorrow, and those who said that 30 years ago are still there. When will the young ones become the future leaders of tomorrow? Buhari established you're not too young to what?
To run.
To run. But he was still there. And Atiku is still wanting to run. So you're not too young. Where are those too young to not too young to run? Do you give them a chance? Thank God for the governor of Enugu State. He's a young man. So I think he's not too young to run. And many others who are young politicians, they should be encouraged. And we should encourage them in the south here. And the other ones should please be advisors and not continue to push themselves to be in politics. What are they looking for? They should advise first and consultants and not pushing themselves, pushing the young ones behind. Right now, Nigeria needs people who are intelligent, people who are digital in knowledge, not analog. Not analog. And we must love ourselves and be able to create that sort of spirit of appreciating one another, knowing who you are and being sincere to one another. And then who is occupying that post be sincere and accountable, and be able to make sure you display your agility and your intelligence and your aptitude in places where you are put to make Nigeria better and your society better. And not to say you must finish everything today. That's what concerns this world. We came with nothing and we shall depart with nothing. But people want to grab. So what shall profit a man against the whole world and lose his own soul? So please, it is important that particularly in the south here must get united. And I must tell you, there's something that is a trick that's going on by the President Tinubu. You know, Tinubu now getting all the APC governors now. When he gets the whole south, the whole west, the whole north, he is going to gather them, and the north will not be able to push him out. He's very intelligent. When he gets the whole west, and gets the whole south, the whole south now, and get the whole plateau and the middle belt, whatever remains in the north, they cannot get anything like presidency. He's going to sail over. People don't understand. This man is strategizing. And that's exactly what should happen. If the certain people unite and get united, then there will be no need for people who are in the north feeling that they are the ones who should rule this country forever. Because they always say that, that leadership belongs to them. Education belongs to the west. And the economy belongs to the east. That where people who are in business, the people in the west are education. Then leadership is for them. And you find that when an Igbo man becomes the Minister of Finance, Nigeria gets better. But when the other people get there, Nigeria is in worst state. We know how to manage. And this is a time once we need to get to okay. It is now time to begin to get united and push the Southeast people now to get to the top and lead this country and see how it goes. We should not fight ourselves. Politics should not be a thing to divide us. And politics is service. And you should not be self-centered and think that because this person. If you are in social party and you don't win, then congratulate that person and help him to go ahead. Mm-hmm. And they should stop all this acrimony and then jealousy and envy and castigation. It doesn't help us at all.
All right, we'll take a quick break here on the Eastern Eye. When we return, we'll have more to discuss on the Eastern Eye. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex Obodo. I still have here with me Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Olisa Chukwuma, OON, Emeritus Archbishop of the Enugu Ecclesiastical Province of the Anglican Communion. Thank you so much. And recently, there's been a lot of talk about an additional state in the Southeast. The Joint House Committee on State Creation is saying that, well, that the Southeast should have one more state. But there are proposals from here and there. You have a proposal from Adada, have a proposal from Aba, have a proposal from Etiti, and a proposal from Anioma State, which is on the flanks. So all of them are having tractions. And the question is, where will it come from?
Well, I think the best thing is to get ourselves organized. Unfortunately, the people who went around asking for memorandum are not serious and sincere. They came and were too much in a hurry to listen to people. I think time has come that the states that are in existence now, or the governors that are now in place now, should come together, agree, and see what can really be of benefit to the Southeast. Not on selfish ground, not on want to have our own. That's the problem, because everybody wants to have states because of autonomy. Autonomy does not matter this time around. It's what can really make Southeast to move economically and also politically. We must begin to think, how do we make it that having one more state will not be deterrent to progress of Southeast? And you look at what it is. In Enugu now, other people are talking about other, yes. For me, the people that have their own point because of the number of local governments there. That place, I've traveled to Nsukka area. It was under my jurisdiction before as Archbishop. Very large area. And if that again, with the agreement with the governor now, decide to do it, that's number one. I don't even see anything like Etiti anymore. We have had enough of other states. And the other states will be very much viable. Because right now, in the Delta state you have, right from Ika down to Asaba, we speak Igbo. Others speak Urobo, Isoko. And the way they are doing things there, they regard us as we are Igbos. So there are normal people will feel very much comfortable with Southeast than being in the Delta state. Thank God that Babangida has given capital. So now, for another state to come up now, there's no problem about having a capital or any sort of height about it as about remaining a capital. So that one is very much possible. I know that other state we talk about Nsukka or that. But we find that the existing capital now of Anioma State is very viable, and that should be considered. Anything in TT or anything or other states, if you look at Abia, look at Weri, I think they are all right with that. So if it's going to be one state more, you should consider either Adada or Anioma for now. That will be benefit. But after all, from Enugu here, you created that umbrella, you created the Ebonyi State, and so on and so forth. And you join some states to form Ebonyi State. So it's anything that the governor should come together and study the geography of their area, and also study the viability of it. It's not a matter of creating states. How about the economic growth? How about the sustenance of that area? Are you going to continue to be a state and then going to be on money collected from Abuja? Do you have a lot of resources to come up in that state to make that state viable? This is another that you have to look at. You look at the whole area, agriculture-wise, mineral-wise, and also and so forth. Things that can make that state to be viable. And not just creating states and then you go cap in hand looking for money from central posts to maintain the state. And every state that is existing now must find a way of raising revenue and making their areas very much important for people to be able to produce. P2P says production than consumption. Are we going to come to consume and not producing? Which state will be able to produce something that will make the people there to be happy, feed themselves, and be able to sustain themselves? These are the areas we consider. So for me, it is very much necessary that Southeast should have more and more states. But the governors should come together and decide and speak with one voice. Politicians in this area should also come and speak with one voice in the National Assembly, not divided attention because of selfish-centeredness. That's my own point.
I mean, it is a point that just recently I was reading in the news about their Aba proposal for state creation. They are insisting that they've always had this proposal. Adada is saying that they're one of the oldest state proposals. In fact, on record, it looks like Adada and Anioma are the oldest state proposals, right from the 50s and 60s when you had Jane Wodo as a federal commissioner. And of course, Adada State, when Anioma proposal has been long running since the days of Chief Dennis Osadebe. So it looks like it may narrow down to these two. But then I have to ask you this. People might be running around and saying, okay, I want this, I want that. Do you think that this current administration will really create a state if it comes to that?
Well, they need the courage and the stamina and the sincerity to do that. You understand that most of the states that have been created before were created by the military. But now, it will be a kudos to our democracy that in our years of democracy, they have summoned the courage without discrimination, without nepotism, to say this must be done to balance. If not so, let's have a referendum and let us have, they have talked about these people coming together and thinking about what we can do. It is unfortunate that when politicians are meeting together, look at even almost all the conferences that were here during the time of Jonathan. All that was proposed in that conference, nobody is talking about it. National Assembly, that one, what they are talking about is how to pass bills that brings comfort to them. They're not discussing that things have to bring anything like that conference into something. Every conference that is being discussed, nobody is discussing about how things can be done in the way you're talking about now. So I think if they are really sincere and they are really serious about it, and we are now praying that the democracy will be sustained, there's nothing wrong for them now to be sincere about it and be bold enough and selfless enough to say, this area are due to have more states, and then create it. If that's not the case, then let us go into regional government, parliamentary government. Yeah.
All right. You referenced the fact that the Southeast governors need to speak with one voice.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that the Southeast Governors Forum have met this year. Have you seen them in a meeting recently?
Well, they have not met, but they meet in Abuja. But they have not met seriously to discuss together because everybody was thinking about how to defect. Everybody was talking about second term. And now it's narrowing down. Defection is not bad if it's going to profit you, like that of Enugu State. I must tell you, I'm not against it, because I now see the state of PDP. In the whole of Southeast now, what is the stand of PDP? PDP is almost finished with all that they're having now. And I said to people about that of Mba. In the time of PDP, they seized the conference center. They seized everything there. Nobody from that PDP government dared to return it back to Enugu State. But Mba came up and through his connection with the federal might, was able to meet the FCC with the president to recover that to the conference center, and is what it is today. If APC government could return that to Mba, why should Mba not go to where it can begin? And now the Attorney General is now what? The minister. So he has a lot to do. He's a businessman, and that's why I supported him, because he has the capacity and capability. And he was busy trying to fight for second term, so he has got it. The only person that was stable was Imo. Okay, Imo was stable, and right now he is trying to make sure that the whole Southeast becomes APC. Ebo is now APC. Enugu is now APC. And where again, Imo State is APC. The only place that remains now is Anambra, which is very much one leg in Abga, one leg in APC, another one Labour. And so very soon they will find themselves now forming that APC Southeast. Okay. But now, who becomes the leader? Imo State. So it's now for him to really get these governors together. And I think everything said in that they should be able to move together. They used to have meeting in Enugu here. Enugu is the head of Southeast.
That's right.
So I think we are calling on them to please come together in this time of talking about these states and discuss, not only for creation of states, but how they can make Southeast to have their share in the federal government, since most of the states are now APC.
That's right.
And for them also to think about how to make things better for us.
All right. We have about 2 minutes to go. And I would like to ask you what your opinions are about the current state of Nnamdi Kanu's trial.
Well, I think it's been messed up. As far as I'm concerned, the federal government is playing pranks about it. If Nnamdi Kanu has been discharged before, and we are still tracking the whole thing, you see, this is again is offending the international community. You're not being fair. Okay, you granted amnesty to some people. There are people who did worse things than Nnamdi Kanu. You don't grant them amnesty. What did Nnamdi? What has he done that is so much bad that you could not grant amnesty to him? Yoruba guy that was released some time ago, you release him. Well, that's again another thing that our Southeast governors must work hard and Ohaneze to prove their point that what has got anything done against Kanu now, Nnamdi Kanu, is against Igbos. It's an intimidation and a disgrace to us. They must try as much as possible to work together. Nnamdi Kanu cannot do anything that, after what was he saying, is agitation for our rights. Tinubu is not to recognize our rights. We are trying to talk about the rules. Most of the things he was agitating for, we are now trying to reiterate. Nnamdi Kanu did not kill anybody. You not order anybody to kill anybody. And you did not take over any, you say terrorism. What was terrorism? All these bandits and those who are causing terrorism in the north, how many of them have been arrested and tried? So it's selective negligence. I feel that they should be sincere about it and release Nnamdi Kanu. And if releasing Kanu, that's very good and fine. If Tinubu wants to gain much popularity, this is a state for which you can now say Nnamdi Kanu, you are decided and acquitted on either amnesty or whatever. And let us end this case. Tomorrow case, everything case. He was fed up. That's why I said he wants to defend himself. Are you going to throw him to prison? If you free Nnamdi Kanu now, you feel calmness, you feel people happy. The youth will be happy.
All right.
And the decisions will be very much calm and strictly directed. So I feel that these cases should be squashed and stricken off.
All right. And on that calm note, I have to thank you so much, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Olisa Chukwuma, OON, Emeritus Archbishop of Enugu Ecclesiastical Province of the Anglican Communion. Thank you so much for your time here on the Eastern Eye. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. God bless Nigeria and God bless Enugu State.
And that's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll see you again another time. My name is Alex Obodo. Good night.